Giuseppe Vecellati is an anthropologist. He was digging in the graveyard at Badia Pozzeveri in the summer of 2012 when he got a surprise. Vecellati's team had found a trench covered with a thick layer of lime. He knew that people tossed lime into graves to prevent infection in ancient times. These graves looked like some they'd seen from the Middle Ages, from the time of the Black Death. They found 5 bodies encased in lime. It began to look like an epidemic. The team thought they'd found a mass grave full of plague victims. So the scientists decided, let's dig them up. The lime had sealed the bodies like a cast or a cement blanket. Cracking it open was tough. The team used drills, picks, trowels. It was very dusty work. The students felt like they were eating lime. But everybody was in a good mood. They were excited to see what they would dig up. They cracked open little windows so they could see the skeletons below. They used brushes and dental tools to carefully remove the dirt. One body had its arms over its head. Others were lying on their sides. These were the first signs that the skeletons were different. Their positions were odd. It suggested they'd been buried in a hurry. It looked like their families didn't have time to bury them properly or even put their arms over their chests. This epidemic must have killed a lot of people, fast. One woman had been buried in a shroud or some kind of bag. The lime on her skeleton was very thick, like a shell. When the team finally opened it, they realized that this was an anthropologist's dream. It was a perfect skeleton. Almost every bone was intact. Her bones were thin and fragile. Her teeth were very worn. That suggested she must have been in her 50s or maybe her 60s. And the scientists could tell she'd had children. They knew by looking at her pelvis. She was probably somebody's grandmother. Her skeleton left impressions in the soft dirt. The scientists could see traces of her ear, her fingers, the shroud. When the team lifted her skull, they found a gold earring. It was the kind of earring women wore to church. So the team decided to call her the Lady with the Gold Earring. But that earring, it threw a wrench into the theory that she died in the Middle Ages. It clearly came from the 1800s. And it turned out these bodies had actually been buried around 1850. But the plague struck in medieval times. So what did the lady with the gold earring die of? The researchers suspect cholera. They call it the Blue Death. People turn blue because they get so dehydrated. Cholera swept through Tuscany in 1855. Sailors brought it to the ports nearby. Then it spread fast, killing thousands. To find out if the lady died of cholera, researchers hope to get bacterial DNA from the soil. Now, you won't find any cholera DNA in bone. That's because it's a gut disease. So the team is scooping dirt from her stomach area, where the bacteria might have settled after she was put in the grave. If geneticists can recover DNA from cholera, it should help them understand why this disease was so virulent in 19th century Italy. It could even help scientists design better drugs and vaccines. And that would all be thanks to the lady with the gold earring.